I don't, because you've mentioned a few chances there, and we've just discussed the amazing moment Dykes obviously scored in 90-plus minutes. But another big moment which made the crowd get on their feet was the Pake challenge.
Oh, yeah, put him into the holdings.
Oh, what a moment that was. We love that down the Blues, don't we? A big
yeah.
challenge can get us just on our feet as much as a goal. I love that.
Welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. Now, after 2 successive defeats on the road, Birmingham City returned to winning ways this weekend with a 1-0 home victory against Swansea City. A late goal from Lyndon Dykes gave us all 3 points. And in this podcast, myself and Matt will discuss the game, give our views on the performance and match incidents and the usual stuff that we do. So, in the end, Matt, I felt that, we deserved to win the game in the end. It was close, 2 very similar teams, but I think we definitely in the second half, I think, did enough to win that game.
Yeah, so I'm smiling because I'm still thinking about that goal going in and the limbs in the Tilton and just everyone jumping around us. I mean, Lyndon Dykes just pulls it out of the bag, doesn't he, when he needs to? We've had now Swansea, Blackburn and Bradford in the Cup last year as well. He just loves those 80-plus, 90-plus minute goals, doesn't he? And I think we needed him on that physicality, something a bit more direct, something just to get the ball in the box. Yeah. And what a delivery from Robert's dad. And we're going to get all into this as the video goes, but I just, because you were looking at me and I didn't want to then go off because I was smiling. I was like, I have to get that out quickly. I mean, what a way to win a game. And what it does to your weekend. We were walking to the game, weren't we? They're proper hypocrites. We're like, I don't like 12:30 kickoffs. And then we were walking back to the car because we won. We're like, I love 12:30 kickoffs. It's great. It's going to set my weekend up. Yeah. But no, it's funny, Dad. I've been chatting to a couple of Blues fans and they were saying, it was quite a boring and kind of underwhelming game of football. Personally, I thought it was great. I thought it was a competitive game of football. I thought, you're right, Dad. I thought over the course of 90 minutes, I felt like we deserved to win that game. But I think Swansea had the better 20 minutes, sort of first opening bits of the game. They looked quite bright. And then I think we came into the game and we didn't really let up from there, really. And I think we did deserve those 3 points. And as I said, we'll get into the fine elements of the game in a minute there, but a few overarching themes which I wanted to pick up on. Credit to Chris Davies. I thought he made some good and brave changes, putting Robinson at the left side of centre back. He played Ducksch in the 10. Well, Stano and Ducksch were kind of interchanging throughout the game, weren't they? A little bit, but he decided to play Ducksch, who I thought had a good game. And I thought something I really want to highlight in this game, Dad, because you mention this all the time, and I think it's a really important thing. The subs had impact, and I thought we ended the game really strong. So I thought that was really, really encouraging and really good to see. Competitive game of football. I think we deserve to win it. And it's really encouraging to see us go at Swansea, create some chances, have some shots. Fair enough. We said on the last podcast that sometimes they might go into Rose Ed. They did a few times, but at least it's a step in the right direction. Do we need to be more clinical? Yes. Again, we need to put teams away, but big improvements.
I thought you were doing the whole post-match review there. I thought you were going to let me get a word in there. I think you obviously mentioned quite a lot of good things there. I mean, Chris Davies, yes, fair play, because we'd identified, I think all Blues fans had identified in the previous few games about our lack of goal-scoring opportunities and even shots. And, the stats tell us we had 23 shots and 6 on target, which is a massive improvement. When you go back to the previous game, Stoke shots on target, this is 0, Leicester 1, Port Vale none, Oxford 1, and then suddenly we get 6 on target. And, the substitutions as well, I think that's key as well. We said before in previous podcasts, you want your subs to come on and make an impact. And as you mentioned, goal created by Robert to Dykes, who are both substitutes. I don't think there's very much difference in terms of the teams. I thought they were, pretty closely matched, actually. We knew that Swansea were going to come to us with a lot of confidence after their win against Nottingham Forest and the way that they started the season as well. And I just felt that, it was small margins were going to win this game. And in the end, I think our second half performance, we didn't let them off, or give them very little chance in the second half. And I think in the end, that late goal, I think we deserved that. But I think if that had finished as a draw, I don't think too many people would have, thought, maybe that's not a fair result, but it would have been probably reflective of the two teams. But at the end of the day, winning like that in the 94th minute is absolutely superb, and to get the 3 points is exactly what we needed.
I think we deserve to win that, Dad. I know you just mentioned about the draw element there, but I think if we would have come away with the draw after, Duke and that chance in the first half, we had a couple of great chances in the second half as well. Again, I know we're going to get into these great finer details in a minute. I think over the course of 90 minutes, we had more than enough to win that game. I felt like before the goal, we were in the ascendancy. It was coming. We were putting the pressure on. We were on the front foot. We were creating chances, which was really good. But I guess first half, that a big talking point which the Swansea fans I'm sure are going to be screaming at now if we don't mention it, is that goal that got disallowed from Vipotnik. What are your thoughts on that? Because in the moment, it was hard to judge, isn't it? Because we're kind of at an awkward angle by the corner flag. To me, it looked close in live, and then I got back and obviously saw it was very close, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think if VAR, I know there weren't VAR, but if there was VAR, I think that goal would have been given. I think that it's hard to see from the angles because the angle that we've got is not dead in line, is it? It's slightly back, and it's always hard to tell. But
I guess his arms lingering a little bit at the back, isn't it? And again, if you were parallel with it, that would give it more context. But
possibly would have been obviously we don't have VAR in the Championship, but if that would have been reviewed, I think that would have been a very, very tight call, possibly given.
I think it was onside.
I think it was a goal as well, but it was we rode our luck a little bit because they had a few chances before that as well, didn't they? That's Vipotnik. Is that his name?
Vipotnik. I can never get it right, but I think that's how we pronounce it. Vipotnik.
He's a really, really good player. And I think that I looked at Swansea social media, particularly their X page, and a lot of criticism for the manager for taking him off when it was 0-0 and they needed a goal. And they brought on who did they bring on? They brought
the guy that cost $6 million.
Yeah, let me just get his name for you.
Forgot his name now, but I know a lot of Swansea fans were commenting, Dad, going, because just we paid $6 million doesn't mean he necessarily always has to come on.
Yeah, Adam Ida.
That's the one.
Yeah, he came on, but you would argue as well, if you're 0-0 and you're chasing a win, why not keep him on and bring Adam Ida on as well? I don't know. I mean, we're not the manager.
They did play Forest in the week, though, didn't they? So again, I'm not in the Swansea's manager's mindset. I'm not saying that's why he did it, but he could have been saying that they've got a week's rest now, haven't they? So what's an extra 15-20 minutes going to do?
These are professional footballers. We had that all last season where we were playing like 3 games a week, and and we were having the same problem, but we still had to put a team out and still had to be competitive, and they're exactly the same. As I say, I think they'll be fine. Swansea, I think they're a good team. I think they clearly played some good football, particularly in the first 15 minutes. And but I think we managed them very, very well. And I mean that chance that they had at near the very beginning, where the cross came in and Vipotnik got just in front, and he obviously knocked it wide, I think it was, wasn't it? Over the bar.
And again, we both looked at each other, didn't we? And we said that was a warning shot.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really miss chances like that very often. So and in the second half, Daddy cut across the box, and we and you were waiting for the net to rattle, and he kind of put it into row Z, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I think we rode our luck on a few chances there from Vipotnik.
Pretty rapid though, aren't they, on both wings? And that's, I think,
on another day they put those away, don't they? But they are good on the wings. I thought, in fact, that the first half was almost a battle of the wings. I thought Asoi Samuel struggled on that right hand side. I thought Kumas did quite well getting in on our left. I thought Damari Gray and also what's his name again, Dad? Ronald. He did quite well as well in terms of it was a very wing based first half, and both teams looked pretty good out wide. Yeah. So that was interesting battles to watch across the pitch. But I thought in the first half, as I say, Swansea probably had the better of the first stretch, and then I think we grew into the game, and then we kind of took a foothold and didn't really let off. And then the second half, in my opinion, was pretty much Blues, weren't it? As I said, they had a couple of chances there, but mainly I think until we were building up to that goal, that was coming. Yeah,
it was. And you mentioned Bright as well. Sorry, Samuel. A couple of times he got caught out on the right hand side, and he was pace, and the player got in front of him, and a good save from Allsop on occasions as well.
I felt like Bright, Dad. He was almost getting the wrong side of him. Yeah, and he was then. It was tricky, and he got carded at one point, didn't he? Because he kind of cut across his feet. Yeah, and I think he took that. I think he tactically he took it on the chin. No, he tactically took that card because he was through on goal.
Yeah, exactly. I think sometimes players will do that, and just take the yellow card, and obviously you've killed an attack, haven't you, by doing that? But I think fair play to Chris Davies for the changes that he made. I felt that Clara looked a lot more comfortable on that right side of centre half, and Robinson did very well, I thought. We've got that long throw as well, so that's really come back into fashion, hasn't it, this season? Not just in our league, but in all leagues, and that could be a real threat for us as well if we can make something of them, because every team seems to have that now in their arsenal. Yeah. So he was. I'll tell you who else I was impressed with as well in the first half was Kumas as well. I thought he did very well.
He was getting some stick on. I don't understand.
I don't understand that because he went he went past
every time he was going past him.
Yeah. I don't. Maybe the stick is in relation to the final ball. I don't know. But he was going past players and creating chances.
I think that's still a theme of Blues, Dad. I think Kumas was getting past his man. Dimmy's getting past his man. In the second half, Laird was getting past his man, and it is just that final. I mean, don't get me wrong. the ball from Roberts to Dykes was exactly what we needed. That was on a pinhead.
Yeah.
But like generally before that, there was a few stray crosses and a little bit of sloppy delivery there. Decision making, you call it as well, don't you? Sometimes in that final third, is a little bit off.
Well, I always call it decision making, but I suppose in that situation, you've literally got a split second to decide what to do. And we see it in every game, don't we? We
just
saw
a bit of quality
all
as well,
over
isn't
the
it?
weekend. Where wrong decisions have been made. It is a bit of quality, and these type of games, they're in the Championship are won by small margins, aren't they? And as I say, I don't see very much difference in terms of the quality and strength of the Swansea squad compared to ours, which I think is a compliment to us. Because they, have particularly since Alan Shearer's been their manager, I've read a stat that since February they have had the second highest amount of points accumulation in the whole Championship.
Yeah, they're doing well.
So that's from February till the end of the season, and from this season as well. So any Swansea fan, and I saw a few that were questioning whether he should stay or not, I want to be careful what they wish for, because he seems to be a manager that seems to be able to get points and accumulate points for them. So. It's basically what I'm saying is that I think this was a good victory against a good team, because Swansea are going to pick up points this season without a doubt.
They'll be top half easy.
Yeah.
In fact, they could end up pushing on and having a real good
I think
season.
their fans are frustrated because I think they considered a late goal against Hull and now this as well. But that happens in games, and we've had games where we've done that. I can think of a few. I'm not going to mention last season, the nightmare game for us, but it happens in football, and you've got to be switched on for 90 minutes, haven't you? Or plus whatever the stoppage time is. But
Dad, I just want to jump back because we kind of brushed past it a little bit, but you did mention a really good point, and that is the Clara right side of centre back and Robinson the left side of centre back. I thought that worked. That to me is that Ben Davies Exeter moment, I think, and it's happened early, thankfully. I think that could be our centre half partnership, because you have to put balance and positioning and calmness in your team over individual quality sometimes. So Neumann on paper could arguably be a better centre half. Bielek could be a better centre half. I know he's not here anymore. I'm just making a point here.
Well, not according to the stadium.
The stadium announcer still had Bielek on.
I don't know if anybody was in the ground. This is not just before kick-off, but about half an hour before the kick-off, when they announced the Blues teams and they put the names on the board. Got number 6, Christian Bielek, with his picture was actually on the main scoreboard.
No, it was an animation of him doing that.
In the Blues kit. I think Albin would be a bit surprised about that as well.
But I think the balance trumps everything, in my opinion, and that made us so much more structured. And in fact, Robinson was arguably my man of the match. I thought he was good. He was aggressive. He was calm on the ball. He looked like he'd been playing there for his whole career in terms of in the Blues team and playing. So I thought he looked really good, and I was happy to see a left side centre back and Clara back. More importantly for me, that Clara on the right side of centre back, because he's an animal and you need him playing to his strengths. And to me, he's right side centre back every time.
We were a different team last season when Ben Davies came in, and I think that having a left footer changes everything at the back. And we've also got Aaron Cashin that can play left side of the centre halves as well. So we have,
and both of them can play left back as well.
Yes, they can, and and fair play as well to Alex Cochrane. I thought he had a much better game. He was much tighter on his man.
He did,
and even though they were pacey forward, and that's the difference as well, because you've got Robinson now who's left-footed that can actually help him out and come back on his natural foot to cut into to help. So I think we looked a lot stronger in that respect. But so I think after the first 15 minutes, because we did go into the game. If you look at the preview video that we did, we highlighted the strength of Swansea and what a good Championship side they are. So we shouldn't underestimate this victory. But the first 10, 15 minutes, I think we sat there thinking this is going to be a long day.
It could have been a long day.
Trying to keep them out. And then we really sort of developed into the game and started to play a bit of our football. We had one or two chances, but they had the best two chances. The first one we mentioned is where the cross came in from their right. Vipopnik just got in front of, it might have been Robinson actually, I think. And he knocked it, I think he knocked it over the bar. And then, there was a few other moves as well. Josh Tymon, I like him as well. I highlighted him as a good player because he's the one that creates loads of chances. He's their right back. He's a left wing cross. He'd be their left back. But he was culpable for our goal, actually, because he didn't close down Patrick Roberts and allowed him to get onto his crossing foot. So actually it shows you that even players with good stats and can make mistakes in games as well.
But this is why they say stats are for prats, because it doesn't sometimes paint the whole picture. I'm not calling you a prat, by the way, but before you suddenly jump in. But you're quite stat heavy. I'm not necessarily. It's because of that reason. Sometimes it doesn't paint the full picture.
Yeah, I must admit, I do like looking at stats. I do. Just to build a picture of
they're a good marker.
Yeah,
and they're 100%. I'm not knocking stats, by the way. I'm just saying it doesn't paint the whole picture.
Yeah.
And this is the beauty of having inverted wingers. Robinson was out on the right, put it onto his left foot.
Yeah.
There's no way if he puts that on Dykes' head, it's going in, isn't it?
No,
and it's just unreal.
I know. I mean, we had. I mean, you sort of mentioned it, Matt, in the intro as well. We had one really great chance in the first half, which was when Marvin Ducksch turned Cabango.
Good save, wasn't it? Like instinctive save.
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether it was just a goalkeeper just putting his body in the way, because when you look at the goal, it sort of Dykes turns, shoots across goal, which is what he should be doing, but it just hits the inside thigh of the goalkeeper and then rolls up. But then the goalkeeper would say, "Well, my job is just to get in the way of the ball. It doesn't matter how it stays out.
100%.
So whether it's lucky or not, it don't matter. The goalkeeper was actually doing
Also,
his job.
he's got to know where to position himself for it to hit off his thigh.
I was waiting for the net to burst.
Same.
Because we saw him turn, and I think that's Dykes' game. That is the through ball, the turn, and obviously I think he's quite a clever and intelligent player, but I don't think he's wired up. The whole team isn't wired up yet to what we're supposed to be doing. Not just him, but you could argue with Kyogo and other players as well.
Dad, I got a question for you because it's on my mind as well. I think it's on a lot of the Blues fans' mind as well. What do you think the solution? I say solution. It's not necessarily a problem here, but what do you think? How do we get sort of Paik, Iwata, and Doyle? Obviously, we're talking about these three here in the centre midfield because a lot of people are saying Iwata isn't having the season he had in League One, and I would admit that he hasn't looked as sharp as he did last season. I'll give you that. But they're different roles, aren't they? Iwata's the centre defensive mid. He's a physical player. He breaks up play and gets you back on. And Paik's the playmaker. And Doyle and Leonard are very similar to Paik. So if you take Iwata out and let's say you had Paik and Tommy Doyle, they're very similar, aren't they? You don't get that disruptor in the middle then. I'm just going to pose it to you. What are your thoughts on that centre mid?
Well, I think that in Chris Davies' system, you can't play all three. You can't. I don't think there's room for Paik, Iwata and Doyle. It's been tried because he tried Doyle in number 10, and I've said before, I don't think that, I think he's wasted in number 10. He's much more of a creative midfielder that, one thing that did make me laugh, if we substituted Doyle late on to come on to take the free kick, and obviously he came on to take the first, he's just into the wall. Chris Davies must have been thinking, bring him off. but I do like Tommy Doyle, and I'd love to see him in the team, but I think it's difficult. Where do you put him if Chris Davies' preference is Paik and Iwata? I think maybe Chris Davies needs to give Paik and Iwata a few more games, and if it's not quite working, we do need to make some changes. You are right though as well. So if you were to take Iwata out of the team, who actually replaces him? Because the nearest player we probably got is Leonard. That is someone who tackles
more aggressive.
Yeah, Doyle is more of a Paik type of player, isn't he? That's creative. So I'm not quite sure what you do there, to be honest.
It's a tough one though, isn't it? Because they all add value.
Yeah.
I think at the minute, Paik and Iwata. Well, I say it's not as if I've got to have a crystal ball. It's pretty obvious. Paik and Iwata are Chris Davies' number one centre mids, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, they're first on the team sheet.
Exactly.
I mean, every single game. So that's unlikely to change unless there's an injury or a real bad downturn in form. So I think
again, controversial maybe. What would you think about Iwata and Doyle? Giving Paik a game on the bench. Again, by the way, I'm not saying I want this to happen. I'm just putting it out there.
I'm saying that's a possibility because we've just said that Paik is a similar player to Doyle. They're creative midfielders, aren't they? So
it's a tough one, isn't it?
It is tough. It is really, really tough.
But it's good to have this problem in terms of, we've got lots of quality. I mean, I'm not, by the way, by saying this, the caveat isn't that I think Paik doesn't do this or he's a bad player, but I like Tommy Doyle's positivity. He's always looking that way, not that way or behind him. He always wants to get us on the front foot.
He will get his chance. I don't know how, but he will get his chance because it's a long old season with a lot of games. It's a very, very highly competitive league. We are going to get injuries. We are going to get suspensions. And he will get his chance. He will definitely get his chance. And I think we'll really see what he's made of when he gets a decent run in the team. I don't know, was you surprised as well when you looked at the team and you saw that, that he had Dukes in the 9, Stano in the 10 to start, even though they were inverted. I get that.
Yeah.
And also as well, was you surprised that Damari Gray was on the right and Kumas was on the left? Because I thought that'd be the other way around.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, again, because we tend to play with inverted wingers, don't we? Whereas they were both playing on their dominant foot. And we saw it wasn't quite working because, well, it's not that it wasn't working in terms of Kumas was beating his man and Dimi was beating his man. But when you're not inverting, you're going to the byline and getting it in.
Yeah.
And when we were getting it in, that's when we said we were having a little bit of a quality issue getting that final ball into the box, weren't we?
Yeah.
And then I personally think we look way better inverted. Dimi on his foot cutting in, and then Roberts in the second half cutting in on his other foot as well.
I agree with that with the team we got. But if we were to get like a target man, like a Lyndon Dykes who would start the game and play a lot, I think to have natural windows rather than inverted windows is because you need someone who can cross with their natural foot.
But then it didn't stop Roberts getting into Dykes invertedly either, because he swung it on his left foot and still got it on his head, didn't he?
He did,
so he still got it in, even inverted.
Yeah, he did.
But you're right. I take your point, Dad. I think it's more powerful if you have a target man to go to the byline and dink it in.
Yeah. But you do need a target man to do it. We've got that in Lyndon Dykes, but how many games is he actually going to start? I mean, the way he's going, he's probably going to be starting every game. But he's more of an impact type of play, an impact sub. But and I said to you, Matt, when that goal went in as well, that there's no other player on the pitch that probably would have scored that goal, because if Stano was still on, Stano he wouldn't have been in that position. He would have been a little bit deeper, waiting for the ball. Probably. I mean, it's all hypothetical. I know that, but I'm saying you need a Dykes type of player in those situations to be in the right place at the right time. And it's a good header as well.
Again, this isn't a negative. It's just an observation. It allows you to go a bit more direct.
We did.
We were getting balls into the box a little bit more, and there's nothing wrong with that when the A strategy sometimes isn't being perfected as you hope it would be. So I think there's nothing wrong with bringing Lyndon Dykes on 10, 15 minutes to go and absolutely peppering the box from time to time. It's clearly proven that it works. Worked against Bradford, worked against Swansea, and it worked against Blackburn. So it does show it does work in the later stages of the game when you do have a target man on. And what a moment that was when that ball went in, Dad.
Well, let's talk about just very quickly, just a couple of chances before that we had. Right at the start of the second half, Stansfield crossed it deep to Kumas. I think it was at pace. I think if he'd have made contact, it would have been a goal. That was that. And then, obviously, we made all the substitutions in the 67th minute when Laird, Patrick Roberts and Kyogo came on. That sort of gave us a little bit more of an impetus as well. But then the big chance as well, Roberts, created the chance for Kyogo, put him through, and clear through. And really, I think because we were right behind that goal, it looked to me like he obviously was focusing on the run and not on contact with the ball, because it looked like he hit the top of the ball to me. So basically, there was no power on it. But you'd expect a striker to be, to be putting them away. I think
of that price tag, you've got to be challenging the keeper more than he did. You have to. However, one thing I will say about Kyogo, Dad, and I said this about Lyndon Dykes in the context of League One last season, is I liked Dykes because he pulled defenders out of position, which allowed us to make runs in and around the pitch in other areas. You look at the runs Kyogo makes, fair enough. He's not clinical at the moment. I think he needs a goal. He needs some confidence, and then the goals will come. But he's pulling defenders across that line, left, right, and centre, and he's creating gaps for other space for team members across the team.
He just needs goals now. Like you say, I don't think you can criticise his work rate or what he does.
His runs are incredible.
He is, and he just needs to, when he does get those chances, to put them away. And I think once he starts to do that, have a bit of confidence, he'll be fine. The introduction of Roberts as well. I was surprised that he started on the bench. I thought Roberts might start the game, but clearly Chris Davies wanted him to come on and do what he did. But that allowed, when Roberts came on to replace Kumas, it allowed Damari to go on the left. Roberts was on the right, and that one where I thought Damari had a decent game as well. With a few chances. All Damari needs to do, he needs to be, there needs to be more end product from his work, like i.e. through passes or even maybe goals. But he's doing everything else right. I think Demi. I think it's only a matter of time.
He's having a great season.
Yeah, he's doing very well.
I think arguably, Dad, he's one of our most consistent players. Let's ignore the Stoke game because no one painted themselves in glory off the back of that one. But if we just ignore that one for a minute, I think Dimmy's been our probably most consistent player.
Yeah, and
I'd argue.
Probably the most consistent summer signing, definitely.
That's what I mean.
But he had that chance as well, late on when he wriggled through, didn't he? He got past two defenders, but I think he was just off balance, and I think they didn't have enough balance to actually
good skill though.
Yeah, it was very good skill, and that put him through, and that was scuffed as well. And we were dominating the game by that, weren't we? And Kyogo tried a real spectacular overhead kick that was blocked by Kabanga, and then there was the goal, and to get 3 points, because if we hadn't got the 3 points, then it would have been 2 defeats followed by a draw. But that goal changes everything. It changes everything. It changed the whole mood in the stadium. And the stadium went absolutely nuts. Absolutely crazy.
That was one of those ones, Dad. You'll be thinking a couple of years down the line, reflecting on it and how mental it went around us. It was just great. I was getting pulled from behind and chucked in front. It was just
a little bit like Blackburn away.
A little bit,
but it was great. And again, well done to Patrick Roberts as well for having the skill really to turn his player and to cross it like that. And now 9 times out of 10 prior to that, he'd have crossed that. There'd be nobody there.
Yeah.
Because Lyndon Dykes, he knows where the goal is and he knows what to expect, doesn't he? So
I doubt, because you've mentioned a few chances there, and we've just discussed the amazing moment Dykes obviously scored in 90+ minutes. But another big moment which made the crowd get on their feet was the Pake challenge.
yeah, put him into the holdings.
What a moment that was. We love that down the Blues, don't we? A big
yeah,
challenge can get us just on our feet as much as a goal. I love that. And obviously, Pake isn't usually that kind of player, so it was good to see him getting stuck in and sticking him in the hoardings. It was a good challenge.
Yeah, on that as well. I mean, the referee in the first half, it seemed like I turned around to the guy who sits next to me on the other side of me, and I said to him, we ain't, the way the referees go, we ain't going to finish this game with 11 men. But what he seemed to do, he seemed to sort of use us. He booked our players in the first half. I thought, okay, I'll book the Swansea players in the second half.
The biggest one for me, though, was Damari's challenge. He clearly got the ball.
Yeah.
I just didn't get it. And I thought the ref was bad for both teams. I thought it was a really poor officiation of a game for both teams. I thought if you think about the Swansea goal that got chalked off, think about some of the cards. And I think, again, you don't mind your players getting booked. It's going to happen. It's the consistency.
Yeah.
Again, there's no consistency in the league. And we thought when we got promoted to the Championship, one of the big things we mentioned, Dad, in our summer videos about moving forward is we were buzzing to get rid of the standard of refereeing to move to a higher level.
Yeah.
I can't see much difference at the moment.
Yeah, no, not really. And it's unfortunate because, the referee could potentially ruin the games as well.
Yeah.
But, I just felt, in the end, again, coming back to stats, which we talked about already, but we have 51% possession. They have 49, but they're a team that's got one of the highest possession stats in the league, and that shows you that's the quality of the two teams.
Also, Dad, I'll take lower possession for a 1-0 win. I don't care whether it's 80% or 70%. I don't care if it's 20%. If we win, we win.
Yeah. Well, and again, this is not a negative. This is an observation as well. I thought Ryan Allsopp's distribution again was way off again. We're kicking the ball out, and I think we saw glimpses of what he could do last season. I mean, that goal against Wickham stands out where he chipped it forward for Taylor Gardner-Hickman. It was an assist, wasn't it? But I think we've got to get better at that because we, kicking the ball out, just giving the ball back to the opposition.
I think it's again. It comes back to that argument that we're playing at a higher level.
Yeah,
the passes aren't flowing.
Well,
as in,
is it really? Because if you're a goalkeeper, the pitch is still the same size.
Yeah, but the teams are better at because if you think about it, some of the times last season, Ryan Allsopp, as you said, just went direct route one, and we caught teams out, and it was good. You're not going to get away with that.
No,
at Championship level.
I'm talking about kicking it out straight out.
Oh yeah. No, fair enough.
There's a few chances like that. And again, I'm not criticising. I love Ryan Allsopp, and I think he's definitely.
No, I think I noticed. I've got that in my notes as well.
But that is a waste as well. But overall, Matt, three really good points and. I think that it's not a landmark victory, but it really sets a marker for these are the types of games we're going to get in this league. They're going to be hard to break teams down. We're going to have threats against us, and we've just got to keep going and keep going and going. But overall, I'm chuffed to bits with 3 points here.
Same. And just two final things for me, Dave, really, really quick, is one, physicality again. I think we're in certain areas, or in certain parts of games, we look a little bit weaker than other teams. I've noticed it against Stoke and Leicester and a little bit against Swans. And again, please don't take this out of proportion or context. It's not a big deal. I'm just saying I've noticed that we're a little bit light sometimes in games.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit bullied. Not bullied, but that physicality I think sometimes needs upping. That level of aggression needs upping for me personally. Because I think sometimes when you hit a bit of a bully boy team, you could just lose the game off the back of a team being physical, can't you, sometimes in this league. And finally, again, really small thing. We won 1-0. We probably should have won. Or we could have scored 2, 3, 4 goals in that game. And again, it's just that clinical edge, isn't it? Let's just start putting teams away earlier and scoring a few more goals. But overall, Dad, can't complain. Better improved, much better performance. And on we go to Coventry for next week. But it's good to go into that game with a bit of momentum.
It is, and it'll be interesting to see what team Chris Davies picks for that. But we will, as always, be doing a preview video for that game. So keep an eye out for that in a couple of days' time, I suppose it is at the time of recording. So, as always, hope you've enjoyed the podcast. And if you did, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. We'd love to hear your thoughts as well, as always. And, add comments below. That's if you're a Birmingham City supporter or even a Swansea City supporter. We always welcome comments from the opposition fans, as long as the comments are respectful and not abusive or anything like that, because we are a family podcast and we obviously need to make sure that we keep all comments at an acceptable level. Give us a thumbs up if you like the podcast, and if you haven't checked us out on our social media channel already, pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcasts on Spotify, you'll also find us on there as well now, and you'll see the handles appearing on the screen for all these channels right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already and you'd like to, then hit that big red subscribe button. And if you hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe button, you will get notified every time myself and Matt put a new podcast out. So that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.